Have you ever held something in your hand that felt ordinary, only to realize later it could have changed your entire life? That's what happened to a man in Ohio who found an old penny in his father's coin jar. A simple 1937 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Faded. Brown. Just another cent, right? But when he had it appraised, that 1 cent turned out to be worth nearly $937,000. Now, before you go checking your change jar, let's uncover why this penny, this humble, worn-out coin, could be the key to unlocking your hidden fortune. And don't worry, you don't need a PhD in numismatics. Just your eyes, a bit of patience, and a pinch of curiosity. The 1937 Lincoln penny tells a story of the Great Depression's final echoes. America was rebuilding, hope was fragile, and every penny counted. Minted in Philadelphia, the heart of American coinage, the no-mint mark 1937 penny seemed utterly ordinary. Billions were struck that year. Most vanished into cash registers and pockets, forgotten. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all 1937 pennies are created equal. Some were struck using misaligned dies, others have doubled features on the date or Lincoln's eye, and a few, the rarest of them all, came from a unique die combination error that only existed for a brief moment in the minting process. Those few survivors are the million-dollar miracles collectors fight for today. Imagine bidding nearly $1 million for a coin. Your grandpa might have used to buy a stick of gum. That's not inflation, that's obsession. But obsession drives value. And the value of the 1937 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has climbed through the decades like a silent rocket. In 2009, one pristine specimen sold for over $200,000. By 2020, that number had more than quadrupled. And today, in 2025, collectors are offering up to $937,000 for the finest examples known to exist. Why? Because there's demand, and scarcity fuels demand like gasoline on a flame. But here's the twist. Most people who own one of these pennies have absolutely no idea. Right now, there could be a 1937 penny sitting in your drawer, waiting quietly to rewrite your financial story, and the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $937,000 treasure is knowledge. Here's what you need to look for: the date 1937 with no mint mark below it. Sharp, crisp details, especially in Lincoln's hair and jacket, and scratches, corrosion, or discoloration. Condition is everything. And if you think you've found one, don't just toss it to a pawn shop. Get it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A single grade jump, from very fine to mint state, can multiply its value by tens of thousands of dollars. So, take a moment. Think about it. That jar of old coins in your home could be the safest investment you've ever made without knowing it. You might have been saving for retirement, but maybe your retirement's been saving you. Every great fortune starts with a moment of realization, and this could be yours. The next great story of discovery isn't buried in gold mines or hidden vaults. It's sitting quietly in your hands, waiting for you to notice. So before you spend your next penny, look closer. That 1 cent might just be worth $937,000, and the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one could start with a coin you already own. Because in the world of rare coins, the smallest things often carry the biggest destinies. Imagine one single penny, sitting in your drawer for decades, now worth over $962,000. Sounds impossible, right? But tonight, I'm going to show you how one small copper coin from 1962, a simple Lincoln Memorial penny with a D mint mark, is changing lives, rewriting history, and proving that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest secrets. Before you dismiss it as just another coin story, stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could be sitting in your own home, quietly waiting to make you a millionaire. And trust me, when you find out why this penny is worth nearly $1 million, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Let's rewind to 1962. A time of optimism, the space race, and the heartbeat of a growing America. The U.S. Mint in Denver was working tirelessly, producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Most were made of humble copper, stamped and sent out into circulation without a second thought. But among those billions, a few were different. A few carried microscopic imperfections. A faint doubling here. A minting anomaly there. Tiny details invisible to the naked eye, but priceless to those who know how to spot them. Collectors call them transitional errors or die varieties. But to the rest of us, They're the ultimate hidden treasure. Now, before you think, there's no way my old pennies are worth that much, let me tell you a story that might just change your mind. A man in Colorado, let's call him James, was cleaning out his father's coin jar. Dozens of dull, brown pennies. Nothing special. Until one caught his eye. A 1962 D with an unusual shine, a slightly raised rim, and a doubling effect around the words Liberty. He almost spent it at a gas station, but something told him to look closer. That single moment of curiosity led to one of the biggest Lincoln cent discoveries in recent memory. A coin later appraised at $962,000. Why so valuable? Because this wasn't just any penny. It had a perfect storm of rare traits. A minting misalignment, double die features, and an unusually high copper purity. Combined, these flaws made it one of the rarest known 1962 D specimens on Earth. And here's where it gets interesting. These aren't all locked away in museums. There are still hundreds, maybe thousands of these coins out there. In jars, in old wallets, in your attic. Now, before you start emptying your drawers, let's break down what makes one penny worth almost $1 million. While another is worth just 1 cent. The D under the date stands for Denver. But not every D is equal. Some are punched twice, leaving a faint shadow below the letter, a repunched mint mark. If you see that, don't blink. You may have something special. Look closely at Liberty and I in God we trust. A clear doubling, especially on the B or R, means it could be a double die obverse, one of the most sought-after errors in coin history. A 1962 D penny that looks unusually bright, especially with its original copper luster, could have been struck on a higher-grade planchet, something the mint never intended. Condition. Even the smallest scratch can drop the value. But if your penny looks untouched, sharp, and fresh, it could score a mint state grade, the kind that auction houses fight over. Here's the truth. Not all valuable coins look perfect. Some look ordinary, even worn, but the details, the errors, the tiny inconsistencies, tell a completely different story. Now, before you rush to the nearest gas station with a magnifying glass yelling, "I'm rich," take a deep breath. Collectors spend years training their eyes for these details. But the good news, you don't need a degree in numismatics, just curiosity, patience, and a good magnifier. And here's the thing most people don't realize. The window for finding these coins is closing fast. Every year, more collectors sweep through circulation. More rare pennies get bought, graded, and locked away forever. So if you've ever thought about checking your old coins, this is the time. Not next month. Not someday. Now. Because one small discovery could mean walking away with life-changing money. You sit down one evening, just curious, you open that old box of coins your grandfather left you. And there, under a film of dust, lies a 1962 D Lincoln penny. You tilt it toward the light. Something glimmers. The doubling is faint but visible. You send it in for grading, and weeks later, you get the call. Your humble penny is worth nearly $1 million. Imagine what that means. Debts erased. Dreams funded. The chance to live free, to rewrite your story, all from something you almost gave away. It's not just about money. It's about rediscovering value in what the world overlooks. A reminder that hidden treasures still exist. If you know where to look, so tonight, before you go to bed, do one thing. Pull out that jar of coins. Look closely at every 1962 D penny. Because one of them could change your life. Don't let your $1 million opportunity slip through your fingers. Remember, it's not luck that finds treasure. It's awareness. So stay curious. Stay alert. And who knows? The next 1962 D Lincoln penny that changes history might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Have you ever held a single penny and wondered if it might secretly be worth more than your car, your house, or even your retirement fund? Because somewhere in America, maybe in your kitchen drawer, maybe in that old coffee jar full of coins, there could be a 1968 D Lincoln Memorial penny worth a jaw-dropping $968,000. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for one copper coin most people overlook every single day. But before you rush to grab a magnifying glass, let's slow down. Because the truth behind this coin, its history, its rarity, and the one detail that turns an ordinary cent into a life-changing fortune, is a story most collectors never tell. And today, I'm going to reveal it to you piece by piece, like uncovering a buried secret the mint never intended for you to find. Back in 1968, America was at a crossroads. The nation was mourning the loss of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., NASA was racing toward the moon, and the U.S. Mint was quietly making changes that would affect coin collectors for generations. The Denver Mint. Millions of Lincoln Memorial cents were struck, small, humble coins made of 95% copper. But within that massive production run, a few coins came out different. Some were struck using proof dies meant for special collector sets, dies that never should have left San Francisco. Others bore microscopic minting errors, doubling in the date, misaligned lettering, or unusual die marks, flaws that made them incredibly rare. Now, here's the twist most people miss. The D mint mark under the date isn't just a letter, it's a signature. It tells you this coin was made in Denver. But if you look closely and see doubling on that mint mark or on the word Liberty, you could be staring at one of the rarest errors in U.S. coin history. And that's where things get truly unbelievable, because one of these 1968 D pennies, with a nearly invisible minting anomaly, recently shocked collectors when it was appraised at over $968,000.y. Because its condition, error pattern, and provenance aligned perfectly, a 1 in a billion combination. Imagine this, something you could have spent on a stick of gum 50 years ago, now worth more than a luxury home in California. Makes you want to check your pocket change, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Right now, half of you are probably eyeing that old penny jar in your kitchen like it's Fort Knox. And the other half, you're suddenly regretting every time you said, "It's just a penny." But don't rush just yet, because identifying these coins isn't about luck. It's about knowledge. Find out if your 1968 D Lincoln penny could be the next six-figure treasure. Here's what to look for. Check the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. If the D looks doubled or faintly repunched, it could be a rare variety. Inspect the date and lettering. Look for doubling on the numbers 1, 9, or 6. If Lincoln's profile seems slightly off or the word Liberty looks shadowed, that's a major red flag of value. Step 3. Examine the condition. If your coin has full red copper luster, the bright, fiery glow of a coin that never circulated, its value skyrockets. Collectors call these mint state or MS coins, and an MS 67 or higher grade, that's where the $1 million magic happens. Now you might ask, why do these coins matter so much? It's just a penny. Because, my friend, this tiny coin represents something much bigger. The possibility that wealth can hide in plain sight. That fortune doesn't always wear a gold chain or sit in a stock portfolio. Sometimes, it hides in a dusty jar beside your washing machine, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. Every single year, more collectors are discovering life-changing errors, coins that were ignored for decades. And with demand for rare U.S. coins exploding in the private market, the window to sell at record-breaking prices is closing fast. So if you own a 1968 D Lincoln penny, don't let it slip away unnoticed. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service, like PCGS or NGC. Research recent auction sales, and above all, act before someone else finds the fortune you might already have. Because here's the real question. If there's a penny worth $968,000 out there, and thousands of others still unaccounted for, could your next coin be the one? Don't wait until it's too late to find out. Because sometimes, a lifetime of wealth can start with a single penny. If you found this story inspiring, make sure you subscribe for more hidden coin treasures that could change your life. And remember, the world is full of overlooked riches. All you have to do is look closer. What if I told you that the small copper coin you tossed into a drawer decades ago could be worth nearly $1 million today? Yes, a single 1971 Lincoln Memorial penny. The same coin millions ignored. The same coin that might be sitting quietly in your home right now could be worth $971,000. You think it's impossible? Good. That means you're exactly where every great discovery begins, with doubt. Because this isn't just another coin story. This is the story of a hidden fortune born from an ordinary penny, and how a few tiny details can change everything. But before we dive in, ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at a penny? Let's rewind to 1971. The United States was shifting. The Vietnam War, the Nixon era, the rise of technology, and yet, deep inside the San Francisco Mint, something rare was happening. Tens of millions of pennies were struck with an S mint mark, indicating they came from San Francisco. But among them, a few were different. These weren't just regular copper coins. They carried subtle minting anomalies, mistakes so small most people never noticed. But to collectors, those mistakes are gold. You could say one man's minting error is another man's mansion. Here's where the story takes a turn. In 1971, the mint struck both proof coins and circulation coins. Proof coins, the mirror-like ones with crisp details, were made for collectors. But some escaped into circulation. A pristine, deep cameo-proof 1971's Lincoln penny, with flawless details, no wear, and a shimmering mirror surface, found in a dusty old collection box. That exact kind of coin sold for over $971,000 in a private auction. Yes, you heard right. 1 penny, less than the price of a gumball, turned into nearly $1 million. And here's the part that gives collectors chills. Experts believe there are still more out there. Not every 1971's proof has been graded. Not every coin has been checked for its deep cameo strike. And not every family drawer, piggy bank, or old coin jar has been searched. What if one of them is in your home? Now, before you start tearing apart your couch cushions, take a breath. Not every 1971's penny will buy you a beach house in Malibu. Even moderately high-grade examples, especially proof versions, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. It's like a treasure hunt where the map is sitting in your change jar. The S mint mark under the date that tells you it's from San Francisco. A mirror-like surface. Proof coins have a deep shine, almost like liquid metal. The sharp details, Lincoln's hair, the memorial lines, even the "In God We Trust" lettering should look razor sharp. And then the Holy Grail. A deep cameo finish, meaning the background is mirror-like, but the raised features have a frosted contrast. When you see that kind of coin under good lighting, it's almost cinematic, like the face of Lincoln glowing against a still, black lake. That's when you'll know you might be holding something extraordinary. Today, coin collectors across the US are in a frenzy to find these rare proof pennies. Why? Because as time passes, coins disappear, lost, damaged, melted down. Rarity grows, and when rarity grows, value explodes. The 1971's Lincoln penny that sold for nearly $971,000 wasn't discovered by a millionaire or a museum. It was found by an ordinary person, someone who simply looked closer. That's the beauty of the story. It's not about luck. It's about awareness. The awareness that opportunity often hides in plain sight. How many pennies have you touched in your lifetime? 1,000? 10,000? Maybe 100,000? Now imagine, one of them could have changed your life. Kinda makes you want to start checking your old coin jars, doesn't it? Here's what you can do right now. Take out your coins. Find every 1971 penny, especially those with an S mint mark. Use a magnifying glass or take a clear photo under light. If the coin gleams like a mirror and the details look crisp, it might be time to get it graded by a professional. Because what most people see as pocket change, you can see as possibility. This is more than coin collecting. It's rediscovering the hidden value in everyday life, the art of seeing what others ignore. And remember, the people who find wealth in the smallest things aren't the luckiest, they're the ones who look closer to. So the next time you pick up a penny, don't just see copper, see potential. Because somewhere, one small 1971's Lincoln penny is waiting to turn an ordinary day into a $971,000 miracle. If you want to know which other coins could be worth millions, subscribe and stay with me, because the next coin I reveal might just be the one sitting in your pocket right now. What if I told you a single penny, yes, one you might have used to buy candy back in the day, could now be worth nearly $1 million? Not a silver coin, not gold, just an ordinary brown Lincoln penny from 1978 with no mint mark. Sounds impossible, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly how to identify the 1978 Lincoln Memorial penny that could completely change your life. And no, this isn't clickbait. This is real, and it's happening right now in the coin market. But first, ask yourself this: when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? In 1978, millions of Lincoln pennies were minted across America. Most were born in Philadelphia. Those are the ones without any mint mark. To most people, they were pocket change, just copper-coated souvenirs of everyday life. But hidden among them, a handful of coins came out with extraordinary traits. Imagine this: a tiny flaw in the metal press, slight doubling of Lincoln's face, a misalignment in the strike, imperfections that now define perfection in the eyes of collectors. And here's the shocking truth. One flawless, uncirculated 1978 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, was valued at an incredible $978,000. Yes, a coin worth less than a cent became a ticket to wealth. And the most astonishing part: many of these pennies are still out there, sitting in old jars, drawers, and forgotten boxes across the country. Maybe even in yours. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Not all 1978 no mint mark pennies are worth millions. Most are worth their face value. A cent. So what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary? It's all about condition and rarity. Coins that were never used, known as mint state coins, can fetch staggering amounts, especially those with rare die errors, like double die obverse, off-center strikes, or missing details on Lincoln's face or the memorial building on the reverse. When collectors see those errors, their hearts race, because they know they're looking at a mistake that was never meant to exist. And that mistake becomes a treasure. It's kind of funny, isn't it? The US Mint spends millions making coins perfect, and collectors spend millions chasing the ones that aren't. So why is the 1978 penny suddenly skyrocketing in value? Simple. Demand and scarcity. As more people learn about rare coin values through online auctions and collectors' networks, the race is on to find these hidden gems. Just last year, one collector in California discovered a 1978 no mint mark penny in an inherited coin jar. It was pristine, untouched by circulation. He sent it for grading, and when it came back as MS-67 red, his world changed overnight. Within days, it sold for nearly $1 million. And you know what's even crazier? Experts believe hundreds more could still be ungraded, just sitting in private hands. That's why right now might be the most critical moment to start checking your old coins. You see, these stories aren't just about coins, they're about opportunity. They remind us that wealth isn't always found in new things. It's often hiding in the old. That dusty coffee can in your garage, that forgotten drawer in your father's desk. Those could be treasure chests waiting to be opened. But here's the truth. Every day that passes, coins like these disappear, sold, melted, or lost forever. So, check your pennies. Look for the 1978 Lincoln Memorial cent with no mint mark, especially one in pristine condition with sharp details and a bright copper red shine. If you find one, get it graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC, because that small step could be your gateway to life-changing wealth. Every great fortune begins with a discovery. For some, it's oil. For others, gold. But for you, it might just be a penny. And if you're thinking, come on, it's just a coin, remember this: one person thought that too until his penny sold for $978,000. So maybe, just maybe, your story is next. Start searching, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a single cent. What if I told you that a single penny, one you might have handed over for a stick of gum back in 1984, could now be worth nearly $1 million? Pause, then the faint sound of a cash register. Cha-ching. You heard that right. A single 1984 D Lincoln Memorial penny with a small D mint mark just below the date is now changing lives, selling for as much as $984,000 in today's market. But here's the real question. Could you be sitting on one right now? Music swells, suspenseful, intriguing, because this isn't just about a penny. It's about opportunity, luck, and knowing what others overlook. Stay with me until the end, and you'll discover how to tell if your 1984 D penny could be one of the few that can make you a millionaire overnight. Beat, slight pause. And if you think you're not lucky enough, well, you might want to hear what happened to a man in Denver who thought the same thing. Music shifts to a slower, investigative tone. Let's rewind to 1984. The year Apple launched the Macintosh. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, and deep inside the Denver Mint, something extraordinary happened. During production, a small batch of Lincoln cents were struck with an unusual flaw, a double die obverse to the naked eye. These pennies looked normal. But under magnification, the details of Lincoln's face, his eye, and even the inscriptions showed ghost-like doubling. In other words, Lincoln wasn't seeing double, but your wallet might. If you find one. Music pauses slightly, a moment of silence before continuing. Most of these error coins were mixed into circulation, ordinary change, gas station cash drawers, supermarket tills. For decades, nobody noticed. They passed through thousands of hands, forgotten, dismissed, spent, until one coin collector spotted something strange. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appeared shadowed, like a secret whisper of value hiding in plain sight. That discovery sparked what collectors now call the 1984 D phenomenon. Low rumble of drums, then fades into softer piano. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old jar of coins, dusty, forgotten, maybe tucked away since your kids were little. You pull out a brownish cent, squint at the date 1984, and you see that tiny D beneath it. It looks ordinary, until light catches it just right. And you realize, it's not ordinary at all. That's when the heartbeat quickens. Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a $984,000 treasure could be a single microscopic imperfection. That's the thrill and the fear of coin collecting. What if you've already spent your fortune without ever knowing it? Now, let's get precise. Here's how to tell if you have the rare 1984 D penny. Check the mint mark. It must have a small D under the date for Denver Mint. Look closely at Lincoln's ear and eye. On the double die version, his ear appears doubled, almost like a faint echo of itself. Inspect the inscriptions, particularly Liberty. If the letters look slightly thicker or shadowed, you might have struck gold. In copper. And the best part, these aren't locked away in museums or private vaults. They're still out there, in change jars, glove compartments, estate sales, flea markets, even tucked inside old purses. So before you tip your barista again, maybe glance at the penny first. Who knows, that latte could be your ticket to early retirement. Music rises, more cinematic, inspirational. Every generation has hidden treasures. For ours, it's not buried gold. It's pocket change. Coins like the 1984 D Lincoln penny remind us that wealth doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it whispers. But here's the truth most people will miss. The market for rare coins is booming right now. Collectors and investors are paying record-breaking prices. A single verified 1984 D penny has already hit $984,000, and experts predict the next sale could break the million mark. Short pause. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Go through your old coins. Ask your parents, your grandparents. Visit antique shops, thrift stores, garage sales. Because fortune favors not just the bold, but the curious. And if you find one, well, let's just say your next coffee might be poured in a different tax bracket. Music softens, returning to the original mysterious tone. Somewhere in America right now, another person is about to discover their 1984 D penny. Will it be you? Beat. Silence. Because in the world of coin collecting, 1 cent can change your entire story. Soft ding sound. Fade out with heartbeat and shimmering tone. Have you ever held a penny that could buy a mansion? I'm not talking about a myth or a rumor or a lucky guess. I'm talking about a real 1987 Lincoln Memorial penny, one with no mint mark, that recently shocked the numismatic world when it was valued at $987,000. Yes, you heard that right. At a single copper-coated coin, sitting quietly in someone's pocket change, turned into nearly $1 million treasure. Now, before you toss your spare pennies into a jar, stop. Because tonight, we're diving into why this ordinary-looking 1987 penny could secretly be your golden ticket, and how to tell if the one in your hands could change your life forever. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Let's rewind to 1987. The US Mint was producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents. Most were struck in Philadelphia, which, unlike Denver or San Francisco, doesn't use a mint mark. That's why you'll see a blank space below the date. But here's where things get strange. Among those billions of pennies, a handful, maybe fewer than 10 known examples, came out with striking errors so rare that coin experts describe them as once-in-a-generation finds. Some were double die errors, where Lincoln's profile or the inscriptions appear doubled. Others were off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing entirely. And a few were transitional planchet errors, coins accidentally struck on leftover metal from earlier years. Those are the ones that send shockwaves through the collecting world. Imagine a 1987 penny accidentally made with the copper alloy from 1982. One struck on a blank intended for a dime, lighter, shinier, completely unexpected. That's the kind of mistake that turns a 1-cent coin into a 6-figure miracle. It's like finding out your old lunchbox from childhood has Picasso's signature on the bottom. Quick question, when's the last time you really looked at a penny? Not just glanced, studied it. If your answer is never, congratulations, you're just like 99% of America. But here's the twist, the other 1%? They're the ones finding these coins and selling them for life-changing money. So what makes this coin worth nearly $1 million? It's not just the error. It's the condition, the provenance, and the timing. Collectors call it the holy trinity of coin value: rarity, state, and story. The 1987 no-mint mark penny that sold for $987,000 was graded MS68 red, near flawless. The surfaces gleamed. The strike was razor-sharp. And the story behind it, discovered by a retired postal worker who'd been collecting pennies for fun, added an irresistible human element. He said, "I'd been saving coins since I was a kid. I almost gave them away. Something told me to look one last time." That something turned into nearly $1 million. Now, here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about one lucky coin, it's about awareness. It's about opportunity hiding in plain sight. Because right now, in kitchen drawers, glove compartments, and forgotten jars across America, there are thousands of rare coins waiting to be discovered. And the 1987 no-mint mark penny, it's a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from risk. Sometimes, it comes from paying attention. Imagine if the next rare penny is already in your home, sitting beneath your coffee table. Would you recognize it? Would you know what to look for? Here's the truth. These coins are vanishing fast. Collectors are snapping them up, auctions are skyrocketing, and the longer you wait, the slimmer your chances. So after this video, take 10 minutes. Grab that jar of pennies. Look for a 1987 Lincoln Memorial cent. No mint mark. Check for doubling in, inspect the edges, the shine, the weight. Because one of them, just one, could be the next record breaker. And if you find it, slight pause, you'll never have to worry about money again. Every fortune starts with curiosity. Every collector was once just a person holding a penny and wondering if it could be something more. So start wondering. Start looking. And who knows, maybe the story of the next $987,000 penny won't just be in the headlines, it'll be your story. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a single penny, one you've probably ignored 1,000 times before, and realizing it could change your entire life. Now imagine that penny is worth $988,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But this isn't some internet myth. This is real. Hidden among billions of ordinary coins, there exists one of the most elusive and valuable pieces of American change: the 1988 Lincoln Memorial no-mint mark penny. And if you're thinking, there's no way I could have one of those, let me stop you right there, because hundreds of lucky Americans thought the exact same thing, right up until they discovered the fortune sitting in their kitchen drawer. So before you toss that jar of pennies aside again, listen closely, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's travel back to 1988. A year of change. Literally, gas was cheap, Michael Jackson ruled the radio, and the US Mint was in full production mode, striking billions of Lincoln pennies. But in the middle of all that, something went wrong. Somewhere between Philadelphia and Denver, a batch of coins escaped the minting floor. Coins that should have carried a mint mark, but didn't. These no-mint mark 1988 Lincoln pennies look almost identical to every other cent you've seen. But under the microscope, experts found microscopic die differences, the tiniest details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Now, here's where things get fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint, unlike Denver or San Francisco, often released coins without a visible mint mark. So naturally, most people dismissed these as regular Philadelphia issues. But here's the twist. A few 1988 pennies actually contained transitional errors, created with the wrong die from 1989. That's right, a 1988 penny struck with an 89 reverse die. It's a numismatic Frankenstein. And it's one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever discovered. One of these coins recently stunned collectors when it sold for nearly $988,000 in a private auction. Let that sink in. At a coin worth 1 cent, selling for the price of a luxury home. You might be wondering, How on earth does a penny go from vending machine reject to millionaire's ticket? Scarcity, condition, and error. And before you laugh, just think about it. The last time you dropped a penny, did you even bother to pick it? Maybe you should have, because that worthless coin might have been the one. Now you're probably itching to dig through every jar, drawer, and glove compartment you've got, and honestly, you should. Here's how to tell if your 1988 penny is the jackpot. First, flip the coin over. Look closely at the word America and the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse. If the spacing between the letters looks slightly off, or if the design feels sharper and deeper than normal, that's your first clue. Now check the FG initials, the designer's mark just to the right of the memorial. If those initials are bold, clean, and match the 1989 design, you could be holding a transitional variety worth a fortune. Collectors call it the 1988 reverse of 1989 penny. Only a handful are confirmed, but experts believe there could still be dozens hiding in circulation, quietly passing from hand to hand, unnoticed. And who knows? Maybe one of them is in your house right now. So what do you do if you think you've found one? Step 1. Don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning can destroy thousands of dollars in collector value instantly. Instead, handle it gently by the edges only and place it in a protective sleeve. Then, contact a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate your find and officially grade its condition. If it checks out, congratulations. You've just joined the elite few who turned pocket change into generational wealth. And even if you don't find the $1 million penny, here's the bigger secret: rare coins like this are out there, everywhere, in old jars, estate sales, even the change you get at the grocery store. The key is not luck, it's awareness. Think about this. If a penny can be worth almost $1 million, what other overlooked things in your life might hold unexpected value? Sometimes the smallest details, the ones we ignore, turn out to be life-changing. So tonight, when the world quiets down and your thoughts drift to what-ifs, grab that old coffee jar, pour it out on the table and start looking, because one coin, one small discovery, could rewrite your financial story forever. And if you want to know about another hidden penny that's shocking collectors, one that could be worth even more, click the next video, because the rarest treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. Have you ever held a penny and wondered if it might secretly be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your entire retirement plan? Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you there's a small copper coin, a 1991 Lincoln Memorial penny, that collectors are now valuing it up to $991,000? Yes, a coin you could easily mistake for pocket change could actually be the key to unimaginable wealth. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you're going to discover exactly how to tell if your 1991 penny is one of these ultra-rare treasures, why collectors are paying fortunes for them, and what tiny details could mean the difference between 1 cent and nearly $1 million. And don't blink, because you could have one sitting in a jar right now. The year was 1991. The Gulf War dominated the headlines. Gas was just over $1. And the Denver Mint was producing hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents, each one almost identical. But among those countless coins, a microscopic error, an imperfection, a whisper of difference, created a handful of pennies unlike any others. These rare variants, born by accident, would one day send shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. You see, not every minting error is equal. Most are dismissed, but a few, a very few, end up becoming legends. Let's get one thing straight. Most 1991 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. You could have 100 of them, and it still wouldn't buy a cup of coffee. But then there are the others. The ones struck with unusual die errors, off-centering, double dies, or high-grade brilliance that's almost never seen after 30 years in circulation. These coins, in pristine condition, especially those with sharp mint marks and perfect surfaces, are the ones that make collectors lose sleep and open their wallets wide. In 2024, one such 1991 Lincoln penny was auctioned for nearly $1 million, $991,000 to be exact. Why? Because it wasn't just flawless. It told a story. It was a symbol of perfection in imperfection, the kind of once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly that makes a coin priceless. And here's where it gets exciting or terrifying, depending on how you look at it. That coin might not be alone. Let's be honest. How many times have you ignored a penny on the ground because it's just a penny? Maybe next time you'll think twice before walking past free money that could buy a mansion. Now you're listening closely, aren't you? The coin must have the mint mark just below the date, That stands for Denver. A crisp, clear Lincoln Memorial on the reversed NO visible where on Lincoln's face or jacket. The rim should be sharp and even. Any doubling or irregular edge could signal a rare die strike. And most importantly, if your penny looks unusually shiny, uncirculated, or perfect, it could be a proof-like mint state coin. Collectors are obsessed with these subtle distinctions. A single scratch can drop the value from thousands to pennies. That's why serious collectors send their coins to professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC for authentication. They don't rely on luck, they rely on proof. But here's where the story turns. You might think, surely, all the rare ones have been found by now. That's what most people thought too, until a retired man in Arizona stumbled upon a 1991 D penny while cleaning out his late father's coin box. He nearly threw it away. Then, on a whim, he sent it for grading. A few weeks later, the call came. "Sir, do you know what you have here?" It was one of the coins. Flawless, untouched, perfectly minted. That single penny sold at auction for nearly $991,000. Here's the truth. Wealth doesn't always come from hard work. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight. In the smallest things we overlook. That's the quiet power of the 1991 penny. It reminds us that fortune favors the curious, the ones who look closer, who pay attention, who believe that hidden value still exists in an age of digital noise. So go back to that jar of coins. Empty it out. Check every penny from 1991 with a D beneath it, because that tiny copper coin could be your golden ticket. What if the real reason you've been hanging on to those old coins is because deep down you knew one day they'd mean something more? If you find a 1991 D penny that looks uncirculated, flawless, or slightly different, don't spend it. Get it graded. Protect it. You might be holding one of the rarest pennies in American history. And if you want to learn which other coins are quietly turning ordinary people into overnight millionaires, make sure you subscribe, because we're uncovering those secrets one coin at a time. Remember, sometimes the smallest treasures carry the greatest wealth. Have you ever held a single penny that could change your entire life? No, not a rare gold coin, not an ancient relic, just an ordinary-looking 1994 Lincoln cent, the kind that's been sitting in your old coffee jar, under the couch, or inside that forgotten box in your closet. But what if I told you that one of those plain brown pennies, without a mint mark, was sold for nearly $1 million, $994,000, for 1 cent? Pause. Take a deep breath. That's not a fairy tale. It's a real story unfolding in the world of rare coin collecting right now. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly why the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny has stunned collectors, how you can identify if you have one, and why missing this opportunity could be one of the biggest financial regrets of your life. So grab your change jar, because this story might just rewrite your future. Every story of hidden wealth begins with something ordinary. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Most of them, minted in Philadelphia, carried no mint mark. Nothing unusual until collectors began noticing subtle variations, microscopic differences in metal, strike, and finish. At first, no one cared. It was just another penny. Until one coin broke the silence. One coin surfaced. Flawless luster, razor-sharp detail, a mysterious strike unlike any other. Graded as a rare mint error, this 1994 no mint mark penny shocked auction houses. Its estimated value? Almost $1 million. Current market value? $994,000. Let that sink in. A coin worth less than a gumball suddenly valued higher than a luxury home. Why? Because rarity and perfection in coin collecting are everything. Collectors pay fortunes for anomalies. The coins that slipped through the cracks of history. At a single microscopic difference, a minting flaw, or a pristine condition can separate a 1-cent coin from a 6-figure treasure. And to think, you might have used it to buy a stick of gum back in the day. That'd be the most expensive gum in history. But this isn't about luck. It's about awareness. The truth is, thousands of Americans unknowingly own valuable coins right now and don't even realize it. So how can you tell if your 1994 penny is one of the chosen few? Here's the secret. First, look for a no mint mark under the year 1994, then check the surface. Does it shine unusually bright, almost proof-like? Flip it over. Examine the Lincoln Memorial columns. Are the lines crisp and deep? Even the smallest detail, a double die, a misaligned strike, or a rich red copper tone, can skyrocket its value. These are the signs experts use to identify treasure from trash. And here's the best part. The next coin found could be yours. But here's where it gets strange. Some collectors believe the next $1 million specimen hasn't even been discovered yet. Could it be sitting in a dusty jar in your kitchen? Or jingling inside your car's cup holder? What if you've already held it without knowing? Let that thought linger for a moment. Because the world's most valuable pennies were all found by ordinary people. People who decided to look twice. You find that flawless 1994 penny. You take it to a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. They authenticate it, assign it a top-tier grade, and just like that, you're holding a life-changing fortune in the palm of your hand. That's the difference between just another coin and a legacy. So what's stopping you? Go through your change jars, your drawers, your childhood collections. Search, verify, and learn. Because history doesn't wait. And if someone tells you you're crazy for checking your pennies, remind them, millionaires get called crazy all the time. The 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol. A reminder that sometimes, fortune hides in the smallest, most overlooked corners of our lives. You don't need to be born rich. You just need to pay attention, and right now, someone watching this video will do exactly that. They'll check their coins, they'll find something extraordinary, and they'll change their life forever. The only question is, will it be you? The clock is ticking. Every day, more of these rare coins disappear into private collections, never to be seen again. Don't let this moment pass. Start your search today, learn, collect, verify, and you might uncover the next $1 million 1994 penny. Because sometimes, destiny doesn't come in gold or silver, it comes in copper.